Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back, everyone. Great to have you here. It's a Monday, and that means we're off to our Mindset and Motivation Monday show of the week. Today, we're going to be talking about the 6 ghosts of fear. This is really important. I wanted to follow up this show with last week's show. So last week's show was all about the science of success. And yes, there is absolutely a science that walks you through how to be more successful in any of the endeavors of your life. It's not just financials. It's about your health. It's about your body. It's about your relationships, your spirituality, your career, and so much more. Now, the other thing I wanted to share with you, though, is what then stops people from actually taking action to live their best life. Most likely, it is some form of fear. No doubt about it. It's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to you at some point. But what we need to be able to do is recognize when it's taking place. Because if we know it's actually taking place, we can then see it for what it is, fear of, and we'll go through those different fears right now. But then we can overcome it. We can actually have rational conversations with ourselves in order to be able to show ourselves that this fear may not be as founded as we believe it to be. So let's go through those 6 types of fear. Napoleon Hill also wrote about this as well. Like I said, Napoleon Hill is someone that is probably best known for his books on helping people improve their finances 100 years ago or so, but also so much more in terms of an overall philosophy in life. So I wanted to do a part 2 to last week's show. It's okay if you didn't tune into last week's show. Of course, I'd love you to check that out after today's show. So feel free to head on over to stephencabral.com/2614 for today's show notes, and I'll link up last week's as well. All right, the first ghost of fear is this. Why did he call them ghosts of fear? Well, it's they show up. They show up out of nowhere and oftentimes invisible to us, and they are in the background, and we have to be able to recognize them even if we can't see them. All right, so the first ghost of fear is fear of poverty. This fear can show up when we're worrying about money. Do we have enough money? Do we have enough money to buy the home, the house, the whatever it might be, support our children or our parents or our friends, whatever it might be? We're worried that we may lose that house. We're worried we might lose the car, the job, the cash in the bank, whatever it may be. So fear of poverty is really part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and I'll link that up on today's show as well. If you've never heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you really need to know it. Every human needs to know it because whenever I'm having a conversation with an individual or anybody who's studied this form of psychology, you kind of know where the person is on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is good because then you say, okay, this is where they are. This is the need they need to satisfy before they can make it up that next rung. And the next rung just means that they're more at peace. They've found more happiness. It's so difficult to be at peace and contentment in life if you haven't ascended the hierarchy of needs. All right. So this first one is this: worry over losing everything, essentially, losing all of the things that you need in life for materialistic things. And a lot of people say like, oh, I don't need materialistic things. But you do, right? You need a roof over your head. You need food. You do need those things in order to be able to have a satisfactory life for 99.999% of the population, right? That is what they need. That is what they want. It's also what you're accustomed to. If you're accustomed to having some type of roof over your head, if you lose it, well, you know what you previously had, which makes it more difficult to then go without. So the first one that we need to begin to release, and I'll talk more about this in a moment, but we need to be able to release a fear that we're going to lose what we currently have. It's so difficult to move forward towards the next step if you're always clinging on to what you have right now. The second one is this: fear of criticism. This fear really holds people back from expressing themselves fully, especially online. So I work with a lot of integrative health practitioners, and I'm telling people, listen, you're an expert. You're an absolute expert. You know the de-stress protocols inside and out. You know how to read at-home lab tests. You know, you've maybe been through IHP mastery. You are an expert to the world. You need to get out there and share your knowledge with others. But then they get worried that, well, what if someone who knows more than me criticizes me? We can't be worried about that, because here's why. You leave so much of your potential out there. Like it just never gets into life if you're always worried what other people are going to say. And the truth is this, we're often worried about the criticism that just never comes. Most people are so worried about themselves, they spend very little time then thinking about others. Like, it's the truth. It's not that it's mean, but it's just like there is an innate worry to make sure that we are okay, that we need to take care of ourselves. That is innate in most people. Do not let some fear of criticism, especially from someone you'll most likely never meet and they have no idea who you are. Do not let that fear of criticism hold you back from doing what you want to be doing and expressing yourself how you want to be expressing yourself. That's going to lead to the happiness that you need in your life. The third one is this, fear of getting sick. Like, it's fear of just poor health. And it is something to worry about. So it's not like you should I don't want you to be anxious. I don't want you to be overly concerned or worried, but concerned enough to take the right steps. That's it. Because I know people that have gotten well, but then they worry about, what if I relapse? What if I get sick again? All of that stress, anxiety, and worry can actually make them sick again. There are really good clinical studies that show that people who live in fear, people who have high levels of anxiety, high levels of cortisol and stress, weaken their immune system. Very clear-cut studies. It shows lymphocytes go down. It shows specific white blood cell imbalances. So here's the thing. If you are okay now, if you're good now, enjoy that. Continue to work on your overall health. See and envision yourself as something even greater rather than worried about the opposite. And if you're not healthy right now, then get onto a plan where you can then look forward to future health, right? Envision yourself already living in that body. The fourth one is this, fear of losing something you love, especially in relationships. Again, I've said this many, many times. I wrote about it in my book, The Rain Barrel Effect, but one of the biggest triggering events, meaning like what triggered poor health, autoimmune disease, etc., cancer, etc., was the loss of a loved one or the loss of a relationship. Those are huge triggers. I've seen it happen with parents worried about their children, with the loss of a spouse, a breakup in a relationship, human-to-human connection. The only other thing it's not even the level 2, is the loss of a job or work that you loved. But that's not even a level 2. It's like level 1 for triggering event was the stress around a relationship. It was always number 1 that I saw in my practice and still see it to this day. So what do we worry about? Well, we worry about that we're going to be all alone. That's a big part of it, or someone's going to push us away, or that we're going to push someone away, or that we're not worthy of love, or that, every great relationship you may have been has always ended and you're worried that this one's going to end as well. It's that fear of ending that love that you have for someone, something, or that thing or person for you. And so that will often hold people back from getting into relationships or taking the next step in a relationship, is the fear of loss. And it's simply no way to live. If you live that way, you actually miss out on the love that you could have had in the first place. And if it doesn't last forever, well, at least you got to experience it for a moment in time. And that's all that we really have in this world. So it's really important that we look at that and that we don't allow jealousy or self-sabotage to begin to take place in our life. So we have to be aware of that. Is that happening in our life right now? All right, the fifth ghost of fear is the fear of getting older, the fear of old age, as Napoleon Hill called it. Well, why is this an issue? The issue is around our own mortality. It's around that we may not be around for another 30, 40, 50, 60 years. And if that's the case, well, there's so much more you wanted to do. There's so much more you wanted to be. There's so many more people you wanted to meet, so many more places you wanted to go, and you're not going to have the time to do it all. The time is running out. And this is a difficult one because mortality is built into being a human being, at least for right now. And if that is the case, though, and we know it to be, I will tell you the other side of this is that it makes life so much more valuable. If you eventually did not die, you would not look at your life as something of having high value, of something that needs to be cherished, of we need to be actually present in this moment. Because there would no need to be present in this moment if the moments went on forever, but they do not. And so having said that, there's a few things that you can do, right? You can basically begin to overcome a lot of what we've been talking about here today, but you can live life like tomorrow's not necessarily promised. And that doesn't mean go out and do wild things that might be reckless, but it means, hey, let's enjoy life today while living also for tomorrow. Meaning like, let's take care of our health today for tomorrow, but not miss out on today. There was a lot of, and it goes on today. So there's a lot of people neglecting their life today because they want to live to 120. They want to live to whatever. So they don't eat, any foods that they don't enjoy. And they don't maybe go and have the adventure that they want. Like all these different things that oftentimes make life worth living, right? So there's a balance to it both. It's not never about moderation, it's about balance. So what I want you to do is live for tomorrow while enjoying today. That means prepping for tomorrow, because we hope that we're going to be there, right? You want to have the body and the health and all of those things that you do need while enjoying this present moment in time. And the sixth ghost of fear is the fear of death. So this fear can manifest as existential dread or never pursuing our dreams because we say, what's the point? If we are all going to die anyway, and you're going to die at one point, what's the point of building the career, starting the family, having the adventures, doing the travel, writing the books, doing the podcast, any of those things? It's almost like it's nihilism, nothing matters. Well, why? We're going to die anyways. Okay, is that it though? Is that truly it? Do we believe that that's truly it? Some of that is based on your own religion, your own spirituality, your own beliefs. But also, it goes back to what we've been talking about, is that if everything was promised, if life was eternal on this earth, right, in this present moment in time, the space-time, right, continuum that we're on right now, if we lived forever, would it actually have value? Would we want to pursue things at the same rate? Would there be any onus on us to actually get started today? No, not if you live 1,000,000 years, right? If you live forever, what is the point of doing anything today? There's no rush. So part of it is the fact that makes life so special is that we're not going to be around for maybe more than 90 or 100 years. And yes, I know in the next 10, 20 years, we'll probably begin to live to 100 plus years. But it's not so much the number of years you have on this earth. It's, as they say, the amount of years you put into your life. There are so many people who take months and years off from their life because of their worries, because of their fears that we've talked about today. Worry about being sick, worry about losing someone special in their life, worry about poverty, worry about all the things that could happen but are not happening, but they could. And all of those things leave you behind in life. And the next thing you know, it's 10 years later, 5 years later, 15 years later, and you say, where has the last decade of my life gone? Oh, it's gone to worrying about things that never came to fruition. They may have, but they didn't. The best thing I can tell you is this. Any one of these things are possibilities. There's always the possibility of losing someone, something, money, home, whatever. What I need you to do, though, is get to a place where you say, I don't want any of those things to happen. I'm going to work and take action so they don't happen. But should they ever do happen, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to make it. I've gotten through things before in the past, and I will find a way. I don't know how, but I will find a way, one way or another, no matter what, in order to be able to survive and thrive. Will it hurt at that time? Sure. We all go through challenges. We all go through pain. That's part of the ebb and flow of life. But if you stick with it like you've done your entire life, you'll figure that out too. So my wish for you is to begin to live life how you want. Live life to the fullest for whatever that means for you. and live life to your highest potential. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Don't worry about what anyone else says. Begin to live your life how you want it, one step at a time. You keep doing that day in and day out, and a year from now, 2 years from now, you'll be unrecognizable to your previous self. You'll have developed into the person you've always wanted to be. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. I thank you. As always, I appreciate you. If the show was helpful, do feel free to share this with anyone you believe it could serve. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my health results accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stevencabral.com/courses.